Hello everyone and welcome back to Kentucky Garden Gal. I am Nancy and I am coming to you from South Central Kentucky, which is a Zone 7. And in this video we're going to talk about things that we need to be doing in our garden for the month of October. And the first thing for us, the big thing, is the first frost date. So generally around the 15th of the month, we can expect our first frost. And that is a really big deal. The reason being, any house plants that you've had outside, any tropicals, anything that's a little tender, you are going to need to bring your house plants in. Definitely bring your tropicals in. If your temperatures are below 55 at night, I don't know that I would leave my tropicals out. Things like the plumerias and the night blooming cerisuses and things that are truly truly tropical. Now things like your ferns, I leave mine out probably until it's in the 40s, and I do have a tomato plant that it is still producing so well that I'm going to dig it up and put it in the greenhouse and hopefully keep getting tomatoes ripening on the vine. But if you don't want to do that and you have green tomatoes in your garden, take them off, bring them in and wrap them in newspapers, and they should ripen that way also. So getting back to the first frost, if you have planted anything that you think might be a little tender, you are going to want to prepare for the first frost by either putting a frost cloth, which is just a thin piece of material, or some type of sheet over your vegetation, whatever it is you may have out that is tender. Now in the last video we talked about planting trees and shrubs and perennials in the fall, and what a good time this is. You don't need to cover those. Those will be fine. You just need to make sure that those keep getting plenty of water, and you're going to do that until we have like measurable rainfall, or we start getting snow or something like that. And then in January, February, March, there's not a whole lot you have to do to those, because by then they should have already established their roots and they can make it on their own. So another thing that we are doing in the month of October, many of us are cleaning out our garden vegetable beds and our plants. Some people like to cut their flowers back, some people don't. Now if you have an annual, that is going to die at the first frost unless you bring it in. You know, geraniums, things like that, you're going to have to bring those in the house. When you want to bring plants into your house, you want to make sure that you aren't bringing any surprise visitors in the form of little bugs. So what I like to do is, on a warm day, I just take my house plants, I take the sprinkler and I just sprinkle them really good and wash them off and let them dry. And I do the pots, whatever container they're in, I just make sure and get everything clean before I bring it back in the house. That way I know that I'm not bringing any pests or insects in my home. And that's something that we're going to want to do definitely pretty close to the middle of October. You need to watch the weather in your area. And today it's a beautiful day. It's probably, I don't know, 84, 85 degrees. But next week it's going to be in the 60s. So this time of year, the weather can just really change quickly on you, and you have to watch that, especially when you are concerned about certain plants that you may have. Now another question that I see a lot is it too late to plant my fall crops? And it's not. In fact, last week I planted radishes, I planted lettuces, Swiss chard, let's see, carrots. I did pull out, I went ahead and pulled my pumpkins. They were finished. I pulled the tomatoes all of the tomatoes in one section of the raised beds. I did leave one that I have that, like I said, I'm going to actually dig it up. It's just so nice, and try to put it in the greenhouse and see how long I can keep it alive. Have nothing to lose. But it's not too late to go ahead. Your brassicas, things like your cabbages, go ahead and get those planted out. And make sure, if you're doing with the seeds, that you're direct sowing by seeds, which is what I did. Just make sure that you keep those good moist while they're germinating. And then they should actually, those are considered cool weather crops, and those should actually enjoy the cooler weather and do really well. Now, another thing that I want you to think about doing is direct sowing seeds more in the winter months. So things like your poppies, your biannuals, like your hollyhocks and your foxglove and things like that. This is a year that I'm really going to do a lot of winter direct sowing. And that means where I just take seeds, take them out wherever I want them. I have different garden beds. So one place I'm trying to grow foxglove, another place I'm trying to grow hollyhocks, and then I want to have poppies and primroses. And winter direct sowing is a great way for those to get started in your garden. So make sure that you have your seeds on hand. And in just a few minutes, I received an order this week of some sweet peas, and so I wanted to open that in front of you guys because I love to see how seeds are packaged. If you are a seed nerd, I guess that's what I'll call it, it's just amazing how when you get your seeds, different companies do different things. And I've really broadened out this year, and I ordered some poppy seeds from a lady in Canada. I have been watching a lady with sweet peas that are just gorgeous, and those came in the mail, so I have those to open. And then there is a lady, and on Facebook, her Facebook page is called East of Eden, and her dahlias are just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm hoping to be able to purchase some dahlia seeds from her. And then with my own seeds, I have gotten a little bit more particular about the seeds that I collect. And what I have done, and this would be the case with like my zinnias and my coneflowers or echinacea, my bee balm, I did it with this. I've gone out and I put these little mesh bags, you can buy these off of Amazon. I put the little mesh bags over the best flower. So I'm trying to improve my overall seed stock, and I'm really trying to get the bigger zinnias. I've been buying those. I went to a seed swap last Saturday and got some really nice zinnia seeds. So I'm really trying to be more thoughtful about the flowers that I'm growing in my garden. You know, once you learn to grow the flowers, then you can start growing for different things that you like, which might be color, it could be the size or whatever. So it's just probably a little nerdy, and that's okay, but it's fun and I enjoy it. So that's something that I'm working on for my garden for next year. Another thing that we want to do in our gardens is continue to weed. And right now, you are noticing, if you go out and look at the weeds in your garden, I have plenty, you may not, but I do. You'll notice that this is the time of year when they're starting to form the seed heads, and you definitely want to get those out before they form seeds and then they spread more weeds. This is a wonderful time for you to add compost. if you are cleaning out your gardens. And I wanted to tell you, whether or not you decide to cut down your flowers, that is totally up to you. There's as much evidence that says it's good as there is that says it's bad. If you leave it, then you are leaving food for the birds. And but if you don't like how it looks and you want to go out and cut everything back, maybe you want to divide your hostas, your daylilies, this is a great time to do it. This is the perfect time to do it. You can divide those, you can make new beds, move things around in your garden. If something isn't doing well, try another spot. You know, as long as you can dig it up, try another spot and see if it does better there. So this is a really great time to do that. And typically fall is when we add our compost. That way it can stay on our soil, top dress our soil, and then it builds our soil up so that next gardening season our plants can come up better and stronger. Another thing that I'm sure most of you all are doing is you're planting your spring bulbs. And we've been seeing that the companies have come out, they've released their tulips, their daffodils, things like that. And so get out there and plant your bulbs for the spring. Now's the time to do that. And you can do that all the way up until the ground freezes. And if you know, life gets busy, and if you didn't get a chance to plant those fall bulbs, it's okay, because you can still put them in pots and you will have spring flowers. I've done that, and usually, goodness, the growers are trying to get rid after Christmas, by January, the growers are trying to get rid of tulips for this year, and sometimes you can get them like 90% off. Now, chances are they're not gonna live and survive in that pot. So once they finish growing and you let them naturally die back, you can take them and put them in your garden somewhere. But if you don't get a chance to get your bulbs in, it gets too cold, the ground freezes, you can still plant your tulips and daffodils in pots. So another thing, and I know October is a busy time in the year, but at least the weather is so pleasant. You know, you can get out and it's just enjoyable, and you know, bring a cup of coffee and you can watch the leaves turn, and it's a lot of fun. But this is also the best time for us to fertilize our evergreens. And I picked up, this is tree and shrub fertilizer spikes, and I have some evergreens that are really struggling from that freeze that we had before Christmas in 2022. So I am going to use this and hoping that they will be able to come back and that they'll be okay going forward. But this is a great time if you want to use the fertilizer spikes for your evergreens, and this is what I picked up. There's many different brands, and then on the back it gives you the instructions of exactly how to do it. You just read that back there. So that is basically what is going on for the month of October in my garden, which is a zone 7. And yeah, I just get out every day and try to do a few chores and play in the garden. I know that at some point these banana trees that I have in the backyard, which have just multiplied like crazy, those will have to be cut down, because the first hard frost, they just turn black and they die and they look terrible. So I always try to get those down before the first frost. Now, I have a lot of grasses, like the tall grasses in my garden, and you know, I leave those. I think that they actually give you structure and texture for the winter. The only thing I try to do is I do try to have everything cleaned up by Valentine's Day. So February the 14th, you know, anything that I have left over, I do try to have that cleaned up by February the 14th. So those are some tasks that we can do to stay on top of things, and those are some jobs that we can do or not do, whichever you prefer. And now I want to open, this is Sweet Pea Gardens, and they are located in Washington. So this is how it came. And I will put a link to her Facebook page. And I have been sharing a lot of her sweet peas on my own Facebook page, and I'll also put that link in. But these are just absolutely gorgeous. And let's see what I've got here. So I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I bought 7 packages. So this is a postcard that she included, and they're absolutely as beautiful as they are on this postcard. And then this is what the seeds look like. They're beautifully packaged with the instructions on the back of these. And just like our poppies, knowing when to plant your sweet peas really is what determines your success. And my experience has been that I will plant these by February the 14th. So that's one of the things that I am doing in my garden when I'm getting out and cleaning up. I'm also getting things ready to be sown. And sweet peas, I will soak my sweet peas for at least 48 hours, and then I plant them, and that's how I do mine. I don't know if you can plant these in the winter. I'm not certain about that. I just know how I've had success in doing mine. So if it's not broke, I'm not gonna fix it. And this year my sweet peas, and these were just regular sweet peas that I just picked up at the big box store. So I'm really excited for these sweet peas. I think they're gonna be a superior quality of plant, and I'm really excited that I found these. But I hope that this has helped you in knowing what to do in your garden. I hope that you all are having a great week, and we will see you in the next video. Have a good day.